We're not made to understand everything all at once. We're made to evolve and adapt slowly and learn the lessons and understand. It's this whole, and like you were talking about this earlier, like living longer, it's this whole desire to understand everything in this meat suit. It's going to take me thousands of meat suits. You have to accept that fact.
It's incredibly reasonable of you.
You know what I mean? You have to accept that fact.
And you can't appreciate the moment. You can't appreciate the power of what you have now. You never actually take the fundamental important steps in evolution. You never unlock it because you're so distracted with this false evolution through your tech, through these things that truly don't bring you that value, that don't give you the, what does Greg say, the true humanness. That's the battle. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Higher Density Living. I wonder how many times I've said that.
Well,
Hello, everybody, welcome back.
Hundreds.
I think people expect it now, maybe.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Jason, who are we discussing today?
There's a guy, we have Gaia, and we also love Ancient Aliens, of course.
Great show. I love just binging on the
So there's a scientist and author that we like because he has amazing hair.
Yeah,
he's 70 years old, bro. He looks super young.
How does he have so much lift in his hair?
I don't know. We need to ask him that.
Yeah.
He's got to come on our podcast.
Yeah, what's he using?
But scientist and author Gregg Braden. And he talked about, it looks like we were on his website. It looks like he's doing a whole 2-day workshop on this here in Santa Fe. We're going to have to go. He talks about what is our true potential as human beings. And one of the things that he's really concerned about is in his messaging and ideas is this, that we're in this pivotal moment in human history. And he says we're in a battle for our very own humanness. And he says this battle is not just about physical existence, but about our connection to something far greater. There's something deep within each of us, he says, that's powerful, precious. He said it's even to the point of what's inside of us that nations will go to war.
What does he? What do you think he means by that?
To keep us distracted from what is the divinity that is in us.
Do you remember they stopped ringing the clock tower bells?
Yes.
I think it's a little bit of that, but to a larger extent. And when you identify something as the true potential of human beings, the true potential of a human being is to be a human being. But we have not unlocked that in the truest sense. We
don't know what even that is.
We've never felt it, you know?
Like to be in connection with our higher selves, to have that, coming into fourth density, that feeling of having those chakras aligned and that Kundalini energy soaring through you. People don't do that. People have gone in insane asylums trying to experience that, So that's what I'm talking about. It's like there's so much human potential in each of us through our, we always talk about like being triune beings or whatever that is, or godlike beings. But from whether they're Anunnaki or whether you believe in that or however we were created genetically, with our DNA and stuff like that. Billy Carson talks about that a lot.
I know, Bill Carson.
But I mean, it's kind of this whole thing. It's like we are these divine gods, and we're so distracted with technology and war. We're not monkeys per se.
No, and when you begin to self-analyze, or you look at the totality of humanity, we have excellent potential at a spiritual level, at a consciousness level, even at a physical level. You've seen it in the Olympics, right? You've seen it with what people do in sports. We have incredible potential. But our focus has really been on physical potential, economic potential. It's all been on elements of human beings that are actually multiple degrees removed from the true elements of being a human being. We have not seen that surge of growth in our consciousness. We have not seen the surge of growth in understanding the power of our spirit and what that unlocks. And I think that battle you're talking about, there is a distraction. And it's not just to say that people on the outside are distracting. People are self-distracted.
On purpose.
On purpose.
Instead of understanding. And what I liked about his is that he kind of gets into detail. He talks about, our ability to transcend perceived limitations. And then these extraordinary powers, like you were just talking about, that I believe are encoded, and he does too, in our very DNA, is the powers of creativity, the powers of intuition, even the powers of healing.
When you go to an operating table, the doctor performs the surgery. The doctor isn't actually healing you.
No.
You still have to go through the process of healing your own body.
Yes.
The doctor is just a conduit. And when you start to realize that dynamic of self-healing, the power within that, Like if my skin's cut and they put the stitches in, my body still has to go through the process of healing. The stitch is just there to help hold it together.
Mm-hmm.
If we have the ability to do that on a level after any sort of surgery or minor cut or trauma, why could we not accelerate that? What other potential of healing do we have inside of us if that's available?
Yeah, and if there's this desire, or there's forces, I believe, these negative entities that are seeking to disconnect us from the inner power. I think that's the great deceive, Yeah. That's the whole idea is to make you so service to self that you're just so selfishly absorbed in artificial intelligence and genetic engineering, transhumanism ideology.
In UFOs.
Yeah, or whatever it may be, that it causes us to be not human.
No, because you're so focused on these hyper niche, like fringe elements of existence, when rather you should be taking your time to focus on the core tenets of what even allow you to exist.
Yeah, and he says this, Greg Braden says this, he gives a warning. He says, we're about to give our humanness away to the technology before we even know what it means to be fully human.
I couldn't agree more with what this guy just said.
Yeah, exactly.
How many moons have you and I discussed, even live on here? The fact that we are chasing the technology we design, and we're doing everything we can to evolve that technology, but not evolve ourselves. And we're not even designing that technology to help us evolve ourselves.
No, it's what's the movies with the apes and they get the guns and then all of a sudden
Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, it's that. It's like we don't know how to handle this technology. No. We've just got these guns and we're still primates in our brain.
Jason, awesome, because we are 1,500 to 2,000 years advanced in our technology beyond our consciousness evolution. That is not a delta you want. We need to close that gap. It's either we slow down. We have all the technology we need to do anything we need to do that's beneficial for us.
Yes.
But we need to slow that pace down and figure out how we can accelerate our evolution and not the evolution of that tech. We need to close that gap. We need to become true human beings and put ourselves in front of the technology. The most ridiculous, false paradox, because this is what it is that technology is guiding humans.
Yes.
It's wrong, because technology isn't self-assembling itself. Humans do the assembly. Why do we continue to choose to put the tech in front of us and say it's making the decisions for me?
Well, that's what the tech needs to be in subservice to understanding our humanness.
It should be.
Why would we not use machine learning to understand where does creativity come from? How do we heal ourselves? Like all of these things are, the genetic engineering, like we're going to change our eye color. And I get the disease aspect. That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah, but for what?
But we don't have a spiritual aspect to the technology. We never do.
No. And
that's why we're creating nuclear weapons.
And our longevity will never increase unless our consciousness increases the value of how it is actually operating.
What is the purpose to live a long time if you're not gaining inner wisdom?
Correct. Your physical body will know that. It will match your consciousness. But because it's so depressed, depraved, sick, unaware, and distracted, your body feels the consequence of that.
Yes.
And then you're saying we're going to design technology that vast amounts of people adopt when we're internally so misguided? Then how can you say that I'm building a good technology that's best for other people if I can't even find my own self-guidance?
Yeah, there's an old ancient esoteric teaching, and it says this. It says the only difference between the angels in the heavens and the angels that walk this earth is that the angels in the heavens remember that they're angels. And it's so true when you think about that. It's like, why do we think so less of ourselves?
For so long, we've been conditioned to think that some sort of God is determinant for the quality of who we are as humans.
Yes.
And that responsibility, we have passed that off. And now we've done the same thing with technology. You'll see that people are transitioning away from having some ideological monotheistic God, and now they're putting it in tech.
Yeah,
they are more subservient and worshipful into that when they can't even do self-worship. They can't even see the beauty and the limitless potential that they have inside.
Yeah, and if you feel self-limiting, why would you not give to something that you feel is limitless, like a technology? Because you're just you have blinders on.
And it's a dopamine unlock.
To give yourself over to that. The technology is limited compared to our DNA.
It's completely limited.
We have a cosmic code built inside of us.
It's like steam engine versus Ferraris.
And we're not made to understand everything all at once. We're made to evolve and adapt slowly and learn the lessons and understand. It's this whole, and like you were talking about this earlier, like living longer, it's this whole desire to understand everything in this meat suit. It's going to take me thousands of meat suits. You have to accept that fact.
It's incredibly reasonable of you.
You know what I mean? You have to accept that fact.
And you can't appreciate the moment. You can't appreciate the power of what you have now.
Mm-mm.
You'll never actually take the fundamental important steps in evolution. You'll never unlock it because you're so distracted with this false evolution through your tech, through these things that truly don't bring you that value, that don't give you the, what does Greg say? The true humanness. That's the battle. It's this internal, fucked up, false paradoxical battle you've created for yourself. And you've transferred from one worship mechanism to the next and not really taking the self-responsibility for your own evolution.
And then what does that look like? You know, and he talks about this divinity that we have for birthright. And I love the word birthright because it is our right at birth. We come as divine beings coming into this, you know, third density to learn and evolve and work towards this spiritual goal that we have of, you know, sixth density or higher, you know, into unity and perfect love. So for me, it's kind of like when I see this, it's like, how do I learn? And we study constantly, but it's like, how do I learn? How do I grow? How do I do these things? Because I want to know my birthright. I want to know who I really am. My higher self is the real me.
That's the only thing that's you.
That's
it's
the
the
real,
one thing.
It's the only real thing.
It's the only thing that persists forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're so caught up in this temporary thing.
Yeah, these aren't going to last that long. This isn't going to last that long.
Could you imagine if I
They're going
said,
to laugh at this.
If I had a candle in front of you, it's not lit, and I said, look, this candle is the total amount of time you have to learn in life. All right? And when I light this, that time starts, and when this candle goes down to nil, that flame goes out and you're finished. Are you going to take the time in this brief moment when this flame is lit to go out and try and learn absolutely everything, even things that are of total non-value? Or are you going to focus on maybe one or two core things that allow you to really evolve?
And if you had that,
because you're spreading your time thin.
Yeah, if you had that filter in place and then the urgency with the filter, for me, it brings tremendous amounts of clarity. And I'm going to focus on what is the most important thing for me to do. That it's to understand and evolve who I truly am. That's the number one thing. You know, that's what the Buddhists call enlightenment.
Yeah.
You know, is know thyself.
Yeah. And so metaphorically, like for you, those of you that are listening, light a tea light and just consider that the metaphor for the length of your existence right now as a physical being. Is that the biggest value for you? Are you going to take that limited amount of time and learn 1,000 trivial things that really don't do you any good? Are you going to find something deep and rich of the greatest human potential that aligns with creation? Yes. Is that how you're going to spend your time?
Right.
Because I will spend that every single fucking lifetime over and over for millions of lifetimes. Then say, I want to be the smartest person in the room and learn the most amount of things. Because you're not going to be able to do it.
And you know, one of the things that you always talk about, and I think is so brilliant, is like in service to others, we don't ever think that. We're so self-absorbed to how am I feeling in the moment? How am I happy now? Am I all of these things? And in the reality, what is, you know, fifth density all about? You know, it's total service to others. That's what our higher self,
that's all,
you know, fifth, sixth density, that's what our higher self is just constantly giving to these meat suits of us. You know, if we ask, you know, as the Bible even talks about, if we ask, it'll be given to us.
Right. It's the stage before unity consciousness. You cannot have a unification of mind, of spirits, if you think in a world of divisiveness, right? Division of self from other. If you think that your candle flame will last perpetually, it won't. All you need to do is look out your window and see the cycle of things coming and going. 100%. Recognize that those are the same exact physical things, just like you, under the same laws. No different. You are not special, but you are in an incredibly gifted process to come back again, and again, and continue to learn.
And each of those meats, I was last night I watched a whole thing on Bordeaux, you know, in France with the wine. Yeah, and it was really cool. But wine is such a perfect example of reincarnation, because you look at those beautiful fields when the grapes are out and it's green, but then guess what happens? It goes dark. It looks like everything's dead. But each year, based on the soil, based on, the water, based on the sunshine and temperatures, each year creates a different wine
in the roots.
Yeah. So like in like a 1999 compared to a 2009 could be same vineyard, totally different wine.
Yeah.
And totally different taste. And each of our meat suits, it's the same thing.
Correct.
The next Jason is going to be totally different bottle of wine.
Won't even be the same personality.
No, but I needed to have that vineyard. Jesus talks about being the vine and the vineyard and all these things, because I think this is what he's referencing. That vineyard, it stays there. It's stable. Those grapes are producing every year.
Mm-hmm.
And just as I'm producing every 80 years, 50 years, 30, however long I live, when I'm past 51, so I'm going good. But, the next life, and the next life, they're different variations of the divine.
But the quality of that potential for you is determined by the root world.
Yeah.
It's the world you can't see.
Yes.
It's so foundational.
That's where it comes from. Yeah.
And you have to invest into that quality thing that actually allows you to thrive next time you come back. What sort of foundation will you choose to build before that flame goes out? And it does. Mm-hmm. I guarantee it every single time. It's going to go out. You will not live forever. And the only people that think they're going to live forever or want to live forever are the ones that have the greatest fear of death and don't understand that it is also one of your greatest gifts to die. It allows you to digest. It allows your consciousness to rest and suck up all those nutrients from that life and pack it into the resonance of the spirit and get ready to take that energy into the next personality, the next me suit that is completely different from the one it was just in.
Yeah, and that's where I think a lot of our technology, war, and all of these things come from this fear of death.
Yeah.
When you the Apostle Paul in scriptures, as he was getting enlightened, he said, "Death, where is thy sting?" And that's a great statement in King James. That's how it says it. But and that's a great line. I love it because he's kind of like, "Fuck you." Like, I'm happy. I'm spiritually evolved. I've done the things that I wanted to do. I'm ready to die. It's fine. And I think that's the fear of death is what creates these billionaires that are trying to live forever because they know they can't control that no matter how much money they have.
No.
Billions of dollars is not going to make you live longer.
No. All they had to do was sit down, shut up, meditate, and get all the distractions away. You'd probably live a little bit longer.
Yeah, they probably would live a little bit longer.
Probably every meditation adds like half a minute to their life.
But I like the idea that I can be self-sacrificial of this Jason in this moment in 1973 to when I was born to when I die. That this meat suit's helping the next one. And I'm evolving,
So cool.
So I want to be self-sacrificial to the whole of Jason, the real of Jason. And I want to be of service to my higher self.
Do you know
that makes sense?
When you go to bed, you hope that in your rest, you have more energy to take on the next day.
Yeah.
If you didn't have that, you wouldn't exist. The same thing is occurring. You're amassing all of this creational energy with your spirit through your knowledge, through this wisdom, through these truths, through this love and harmony, through these real, true human potential elements. And you need to do those. You have to get to the point of resting at the end of your life after you've amassed all of this truth with its beautiful, resonant, bright energy, and take that as your foundation for fuel to wake up tomorrow when that next life begins. That's it. It's that simple.
And it's like the vineyard and the vine. It's all of those things. It's like they did everything right, and it created this amazing wine this time. If I do everything that I should be doing towards my spirituality, I can rest, knowing that bottle's coming out. This is the Jason.
How much is it?
But I would feel good if I knew that I gave to humanity, if I did the things that I should be doing.
So that's
instead of taking.
Take. You are pained daily. We need to put in the work. It's not done. And that's why we persist. Because we have taken the time to reflect on this internally and say, guess what? The end can't come too soon. And we have to work now hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we have a job to do.
But it's not work if it's something that is
well, it won't feel like that.
It's enabling in and of your higher self. That's when I know if I start getting stressed or something, I can tell I'm off alignment.
Correct.
So it's an easy meditation. Just calm down, relax, go to my little place and figure out what my higher self, I'm doing something out of alignment. Not wrong, but out of alignment.
Just out of alignment. Because nothing's really wrong.
No.
We don't have to get into that.
Yeah.
But it's been amazing for me as like your friend to watch you develop.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean,
one of the greatest.
So teach, learn, teach.
Correct. One of the greatest gifts for me is to be able to observe others.
Yeah.
And I get to observe someone very close, and just watching you move to like the true potential of Jason's been amazing.
Oh yeah. Same with you, bro. It's like, that's the part. That's why this is our learn, teach, learn.
We only came in here so that we could learn. We're not here to teach.
Yeah, it's weird. People don't understand that. But when you grasp that, it's so beautiful. Because I had somebody the other day, they were asking me something, and I was like, well, you teach me too. And they're like, how? And then I shared, like, I got some higher self wisdom didn't come from me, but I shared these things and how they've taught me. And then they were like, that's super beautiful. I didn't know, And I was like, that's every expression of you throughout your day, you're learning and teaching, whether you realize it or not.
Correct.
So do you want to teach selfishness and teach, anxiety to your children and teach?
No, of course not.
Obviously the words that we say, everything that we do has to be, of our higher self.
And that's why for us, just by learning, it refines us and our human potential. And then people see us as an example, and we teach without even having to act. It's the most passive teaching method I've ever seen.
Yeah, because of the refinement. That's
Correct.
A really good word.
And that's how I see it.
How are things getting refined?
It's such a It's a beautiful feedback mechanism. It's so perfected. Yeah. And all you have to do is just live in it constantly. It's very easy to do when you recognize it.
Well, speaking of recognizing it, we need you guys to hop on. This is crazy, bro. We're growing, like the YouTube channel just took off. Our Tartle, which is our sponsors and the company that we work for, right? You own, but kind of
you actually own it.
The people own it.
Yeah, you own it.
The world owns it. It's a gift given to everyone. But what's crazy is we have 80% of people that watch our videos all the way through. Like, we have one of the highest. I have to show you in our analytics. Like, it says we have one of the highest channels for people watching our videos all the way through, which is really cool. So that means you guys are loving the material. But what's crazy is like 90% of them don't subscribe. Don't click the subscribe button. They watch the whole video. Everybody's watching the whole thing. And then nowhere in there is their desire to subscribe to our channel. If you watch the whole thing, you would think the logical outcome.
Does it feel like a commitment?
Would be to subscribe. That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
I wonder if it's like a psychological commitment.
But we want you to break this bullshit reptilian fucking
brain shit.
Yeah. And click the subscribe button.
Get rid of the zombie rot.
Do a higher self thing and click the subscribe.
Yeah. Like, you're committing to yourself. You're not committing to us.
Yeah.
Jason and I are not telling you anything new. We're just reminding you of what you already know that you just chose to ignore.
That's what Gregg Braden was saying. Hey, you're ignoring humanness.
See, there you go.
The divine being.
Greg's a sharp dude.
Yeah, which he needs to come on the show.
Greg, you want to come on the show? You're pretty local. I had no idea.
Santa Fe.
Yeah. But your hair's got to be just on point, though.
Yeah, we want that. How could you be 70 years old?
I have no fucking
Pisses me off.
You don't have any. Yours is all on your face.
Yeah.
You're like this ancient Roman face you got on you,
My big nose.
That looks good.
Well, cool. We better bounce.
All right. Much love, my friends. Thank you for listening to Higher Density Living, and we will see you guys again soon.